This is Two Human. We're on Xbox Series X, taking a look at this very interesting action role playing game that is entirely free on Xbox. So you can download it and play it at absolutely no cost on the platform. So this was a 360 title that has honestly one of the most fascinating histories to it out of a lot of games out there. And yeah, so what we're getting is like 720p, 30 FPS target, no auto HDR support. And it's generally just a really unique title. I quite liked this back in the day. I thought it was a lot of fun. And when I saw it become backwards compatible, I was like, I didn't think that that was necessarily possible. And we're going to kind of dive into a little bit of why. So I wanted to also play co-op. I just couldn't seem to connect with someone, but you know, there are people actually playing this online, so you can actually find matches. If you're having issues connecting to, getting set up for a match, just sign in and out of your 360 emulated menu, and that seems to kind of clean that up. So yeah, it's just really neat. So for this one, basically what happened is it was in development hell, as to say. It was there for a very long time being worked on. I guess at one point it was also maybe like a PlayStation exclusive they were talking about. And then actually it is published by Microsoft, which is kind of neat. And it was supposed to be a series of games. So this was actually supposed to be a trilogy. Obviously that didn't happen, which I think is a bit of a shame because I think there was a lot of potential for this one. And it probably looks weird because it totally is like a strange game, right? I mean, I also think it's kind of neat too at the same time. So with that, like I was saying, publishing situation-wise, they released the game and then they kind of, the Silicon Knights was the group behind this. And, ooh, the Divine Angel robotics thing. So Silicon Knights, kind of a bit of a well-known group, at least I think so, you know, just in terms of like their history and everything. Ooh. And oh no, this is not good at all. Wild camera angles. But yeah, like I was saying, they're kind of they were a bit of a legendary group, and then they had a lot of issues because a big part of like, you know, their troubles were getting this game out of the way, you know, released and everything like that. And then they went after Epic Games, suing them in regards to the Unreal Engine not hitting certain goals for them development-wise, them apparently not getting held back on stuff. And then, you know, they kind of got countersued by Epic. And, you know, something about certain trade secrets and blah, blah, blah. And what I guess ended up happening is Epic won, and then Epic basically, through the lawsuit, forced them to destroy every single copy of Two Human that they had released. So it got pulled from the, like, I don't think it was really on the digital stores at that time, but, you know, it got pulled from shelves. The company had to, like, pay for all of this to happen, and it just absolutely, like, ruined them. Which you would expect to happen. So, yeah, that was definitely an interesting situation, and, well, part of the end of Silicon. Anyways, with that, you know, obviously, with the game not being available for, you know, allowed to be sold, right? It's kind of like, well, why is it backwards? Like, it was one game where I was like, this will never become backwards compatible because, well, you know, they can't sell it, right? And then I guess the way that Microsoft got around it, because I didn't actually know that they had published it at the time, was just make it for free, which I think is really cool. So again, you can jump in here and play it, and it's got, you know, online co-op. You can play with one other player, drop in, drop out, and it's just kind of this really interesting. Like, I know I kind of went through a long sort of starting story on this one, but I think it's kind of important to get the context for this one historically, because it's kind of fascinating. It really is how this one is even made available. I don't know, I kind of find it neat. But yeah, it's like, you know, a bit of an RPG game. You got, well, that's not the menu I wanted to go to. So you got like different equipment types, different styles of play too that you can do. It's sort of this like play on the concept of like Norse mythology, but with like a futuristic element of mankind with like cybernetic god elements. It's really weird to describe. And you know, different armor types, different types of equipment, charms, runes, all these little RPG elements, right? It's super intense. There's like weapon blueprints, armor blueprints. Oh, where's the... Oh, maybe you can only see it in the lobby. Yeah, you might not be able to see it here. Because there was a tab that I wanted to show off that had the Microsoft points symbol on it. Because there was... You can't buy anything from the store, obviously, because they can't sell anything, right, about this one. But there was, like... the Microsoft Store symbol, like the old one, Microsoft points. Yeah, I don't know if people remember what Microsoft points are, but back in the day, you know, before you could purchase, you know, just straight up money, like just use currency on Xbox, you actually had to buy these things called Microsoft points, which were like worth so much money, which was kind of neat. Ugh, I just keep dying. It's been so long. And yeah, it was just kind of like a funny tab that was kind of present there, and then the god thing comes and does its thing. Anyways, so yeah, this game was going to be the start of a trilogy of games, and I really kind of got into like the whole story element of it and stuff. I was actually quite a fan of this, and I don't know what other people thought of it, because, you know, I kind of talked to some people and I was like, you know, the two human game's kind of fun, and then it just kind of vanished, and I was like, I thought there was supposed to be more of it, because I wasn't as like up on the industry, and then I kind of read about like, you know, the lawsuits and everything like that, and I was like, oh, okay, well, that's a bit disappointing for sure. Yeah, because I was like, it's kind of a cool game, right? Like, it's interesting, right? You get this combination of, you know, guns type stuff, futuristic humanity, and I don't know, it's definitely a neat thing. And like I said, if you think it's kind of neat and you want to jump in there and give it a whirl, it doesn't cost anything at all. It's just entirely free, so you can jump in and see what the game has to offer for yourself, because I imagine you'll be able to start fresh and actually roll through this and learn things well. Die. Yeah, it's just kind of like weird futuristic mythology thing, neat co-op play. I think that was a big part of it for me, was the fact that you could, like, you know, play it with others online, which was cool, because you could just like connect with random people and be like, hey, let's jump in here, because everybody was chatting on mics and stuff back then too, right? So you could jump in there and have a good time with random people, kind of working through it and taking on challenges and stuff. And I think there's like a fair bit of content to this one too. Obviously, we'll never know the full scale of the story, I guess, unless somewhere online they've got like a full leaked thing of what they were doing story-wise. I should actually look into that more, because that would be fascinating, honestly, to see the direction of where they were wanting to head with it. Because it's kind of cool. Like, you get your little sword, and it's like a bit of a skill stick sword, if that makes sense. Like, you move your right stick to hit people with the sword, and then you use your triggers to shoot your gun, like you would, I don't know, any general shooter. Like, it feels kind of like twin stickish almost, if that makes sense. And then you've got like different abilities that you've been seeing, and you're like picking up stuff along the way, and it's just kind of a, I don't know, a really different sort of game. Like, it definitely, like, the UI and stuff screams 360 era to me. Like, definitely feels like it's from that era. It's sort of like almost Mass Effect-ish, right? But yeah, I think this one definitely has one of the more fascinating histories out there for game releases, at least in my opinion, and game releases where things didn't really go to plan, and because there's not too many times where like studios kind of like vanish after they do a game, if that makes sense. Like, sometimes it's like bad performance and that, but to the degree of doing like a lawsuit and then the lawsuit kind of really backfiring and absolutely decimating them, to me that just really creates such a rich history for this. And I don't know how the IP works or anything like that, so I'm not sure what exactly would happen with this, right? Like, who exactly owns this? Because I know Microsoft published it, but did they own like any sort of like the IP at all? At the time, they would have like gathered the IP up and held on to it, so that might be the thing. Yes, I know about the camera angles. I've been showing them this whole time. The isometric camera angle. But, yeah, it's just kind of a really unique sort of different experience. I don't really know what door I'm supposed to go through here. And it's like, I guess this is the general detail. As the cybernetic god Baldur, players are thrust into the midst of an ongoing battle that threatens the existence of mankind. An ancient machine presence has forced the hand of the gods, and now Baldur is charged with defending humanity from the onslaught of monstrous war machines bent on the eradication of human life. Ooh. And, yeah, that's the gist of the story, I guess you could say. And I don't know, it's got, like, really neat environments. You know, it's got a neat setting to it. Kind of epic battles. You know, I also like the aspect of where we're, like, kind of working with, like, a squad here of humans, I suppose you could say. Like, we're doing our thing, but then they're also doing their thing, too. That's kind of just, like, a bit of an ultra ability there. It's just kind of a neat game, and we're doing just, like, a laid-back, random, middle of whatever level kind of thing here to show it off. I think, like, visually, it's actually really clean, too, still, which is surprising. It's not as, like, jagged as a lot of other, you know, titles of this era were. Like, it's not perfectly smooth, but it's like, decently, you know, kind of scaled here, and I think that has to do with, like, the large rooms, kind of open textures, and the fact that we're zoomed out a little bit more than other titles would be. It's just, it's kind of neat. And I know performance-wise and stuff, it might not have been, like, too perfect back in the day, but it's actually decent here, like, performance-wise. It seems to run relatively smooth. There are some, like, weirdish bumps to it, I guess you could say. Ow. How's he hitting me with the hammer? It's not even, like... It's not even... Oh, it's got, like, a spread to it. Gotta roll, gotta roll. But yeah, I think this might be like a cool little weird game that some people might not have ever heard of and might be like, oh cool, I'll give it a whirl because it doesn't cost anything. That's mostly my thought process here, and also because it's like, when else will I ever have an excuse to show off like Too Human? Because this game is just kind of like a weird bonker sort of thing. These guys with the rockets are driving me crazy. Like, I don't know if I should focus on this guy or if I should go kill those annoying rocket people. I might actually go and eliminate these guys. You're driving me crazy. So I think that guy was also hitting me with the rocket shots. Let's go over there and destroy him. But it's just got like a really neat sense of like environment to it. You know, like an interesting setup for the battles that are going on. I find it really quite fascinating world-wise. It seems to have a very different lore to it. And there's also a little bit of a benefit that I find with some franchises where they aim to actually do, I guess you could say, like, trilogies. To me, I find it quite fascinating because you actually have like a preset story in mind when you're setting up a trilogy. Or you should. In some cases you don't. But yeah, to me, it just seemed like there was a lot that they could have, you know, potentially done with this one, had they actually been able to fully experience this, or fully do what they wanted with it. And to me, it's just disappointing that we don't get to see the full scope of their efforts or their ideas. Oh, jeez. Because I even imagine, like, it probably would have gotten some more, like, DLC stuff for it. I see that you can get, like, a free pets thing or something included in it. So I don't really see that they have any sort of, like, extra DLC content that's available for it. And I can't really recall if they had anything too worthwhile that was, like, extra. But it's, like, pre-order armor sets you can get for free as part of it, which is neat. But yeah, it's just got, like, these wild, you know, battle situations, these neat level setups, this fascinating sort of scale of conflict, and this, like, level of divinity, too, which is kind of neat. Like, the divinity part of it, I think, really sort of is fascinating to me, just in terms of, like, what you're doing here and stuff like that. And I do really think it was kind of a big deal, the fact that they actually brought this back at all. Like, it just seems like the most random sort of things. I don't know who gave the okays. They're probably just like, yo, we spent all this money on this game back in the day. We might as well, like, see what we can do about it. It's like, remember that Two Human game that we paid like tens of millions of dollars? I think it was like 80 million, something like 60 to 80 million was the budget or something. It was ridiculous for a game back then. But well, at least, you know, for this type of game, unknown IP and that. But yeah, what I'm saying is, like, it's just probably like, what do we, you know, we spent all this money on this thing. It's like, we use this? It's like, well, we can't really charge for it or anything. Well, we'll just make it free or whatever, you know, just like a perk on Xbox or something. And it's like, really? Yeah, let's do it. And, yeah. Here it is. Is this thing gonna die? I'm honestly just shook. This thing is just, like, taking these hits in. It's just crazy. Yeah, I guess it was supposed to release on, like, PlayStation in '99. And then it went to the GameCube. And then eventually, I guess the rights were sold to Microsoft in 2005, becoming an exclusive. So weird. So bizarre, right? Like, just... It's kind of the strangest and most fascinating experiences, like seeing or hearing about the planned trek for this one and what their aspirations were for it. Can I cut this thing up? Is that going to be faster? I don't think that's going to be faster. And the lock-on this is sometimes weird. Come on, we're gonna kill this grinding beast if it's the last thing I do in this. It is kind of annoying. Oh, it also has really lovely music too, I want to say that in there. I was just like kind of bumping along to like the menu and stuff, and it was like really actually kind of cool. I feel like I'm just getting absolutely blasted away by this thing. It's all the rockets, really. Did I knock off its arm? Is that why it's like slowly coming towards me? See, my big issue is these ongoing like onslaught of rockets are obnoxious while I'm trying to destroy this thing. Why won't you die, grinded beast? Try to like take out its kneecaps. I feel like if I just shoot the top of it, it should eventually die, right? It's got like low health. I guess I haven't shown off the targeting system very well, but you can, like, you know, target things. It's kind of neat. Yeah, let's focus on the head there, because there's not a whole lot of health left, right? Yeah, if we could go all in on the head, that would be fantastic. No, don't shoot the knee out. Oh. And then I get killed again. Oh, is the divinity angel gonna come back and be like, whoa. Thank you, divinity angel. It's such a weird game, right? Like, I think some people might be watching this, they're just like, for the first time, wondering, like, what this is. And they're just like, this is so strange. It honestly is. Oh, the humans are back too, just to come and steal the glory of this kill. Good thing I'm like some kind of god monster thing that just like doesn't give up. Oh, they killed that poor human. Is it dead yet? You've got to be kidding me. Blow up! Blow up already! Annoying little things. I just want to kill them now. On guard, I say. But yeah, I hope you've kind of like gotten a good look at what this is, kind of get an idea of, you know, Two Human in action and everything that it offers, because I think it's kind of a cool game. Like, it's really weird. Obviously, don't expect any sort of long-term, you know, continuation of this ever, but, you know, you can get in here and you can play a full game at no cost, and I think that's pretty cool. Especially like a super ambitious, costly game at no cost. Wow, this thing is messing me up. Wow. Ankle cutter? That's exactly what that is. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this look back at the exciting world of Two Human and the Divinity Angel.